Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. 1B. Hey Emma.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I got an extra 30 minutes off of math because I finished my test.
Nice.
And now I'm playing Among Us
Good.
because I have nothing better to do. Well, there is things I could do that are better, but if I keep telling myself, oh no, Pink got
You need to
wrecked.
put your mask up if you're going to be close to her, okay? All right.
Pink died.
I was watching a video, a stream yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Oh, the game is just so fun. It's just so endearing and just like, yes, let's screw over everybody. But there was this funny meme that I saw that was like, you know how we started off with cute animals and making a town, and now it's kind of gone to little blob man killing each other?
Yeah, exactly.
That's just how the progression of 2020 and this quarantine has gone. Cutesy wootsy, and then we were like, it's gonna end soon. No, we're stuck in space. But yeah, I'm just slowly losing my mind.
Why?
Oh, but I do have good news.
Yes, tell me.
My birthday is coming in 4 days.
Oh, well, happy early birthday.
Yeah, October 3rd.
Good.
That's when the number 3 is my favorite number. 3, 5, and I think 42 are like my favorite numbers.
Nice.
It's always the number I'd pick whenever like people are like, on a scale of 1 to 5, how are you feeling? I'm feeling like a 5. Or they're like, pick a number between 1 and 10, and I'm like 5. And I like 3 because Wednesday's the 3rd day of the week, in my opinion. And I like Wednesday and also the 3rd.
Yeah, 22 is my favorite number, I think.
22. It's a fun one. So I went to the dollar store recently and got a few Pokemon cards because the ultimate nerd I am.
At the dollar store.
And I got a shiny one.
Oh, that's cool.
On eBay, it's getting sold for $6.
Oh, wow.
I paid $8 for all the cards. It's fun.
It is fun. I didn't know that they had those at the dollar store, actually.
You just get like the small 3-packs. It's just like 3 cards and that's it.
Oh, yeah.
For $1.
That makes sense then.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
usually they'll give you like 1 trainer or 1 energy and 2 Pokemon.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, it's small.
Okay.
And my little sister's watching Frozen, so that's fun too. I'm going to shut the door.
All right, let me bring up
It worked.
what we're going to do today.
But yeah, I got a cool Pokemon card, I guess. And you get quite a good amount. Like I only bought 8, and this is how many cards I got.
Oh, just a second. Let me see. I don't have it up. Oh, that is pretty good. How many do you need?
$8 worth.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I have what's it called? This metal It's a holographic.
Oh, that's cool.
Then I have a reverse holo. And that's fun. My days mostly consisted of me working on my room, playing Among Us, watching YouTube, TikTok. I'm planning to play some Overwatch sometime today.
I have not played Overwatch in forever. I don't even know. I think I uninstalled it actually because it was taking up a lot of my hard drive.
Yeah. See, I don't have that many games, so Overwatch doesn't take up too much.
Right. Okay, so it is 11 o'clock. So let's go ahead. Those of you who are here, turn your cameras on, please, so I can do my attendance. Thank you. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Madeline. Thank you, Brian and Emma. Thank you, Cameron. I've got some people who are waiting to come in, so. Thank you. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Mildred. Thank you, Edison. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you, Jada. Thank you, Zanette. Thank you, Louise. Excellent. All right. Let's see. Trying to make sure I see everybody. Sometimes I just go back and pause the video so that I can make sure I see everyone. Hannah's not here yet. Oh, there's Mia. Okay, ladies, it's 11. You should be logged in, okay? Thank you. It's 11, so let's get logged in and make sure we're ready to go. Okay. All right. Theory, Laura, can you guys pop your camera on really quick just so I can see you for attendance checks, and then you can turn your camera off if you need to. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start today by talking about, oh, I've got some chat. Okay, oh, theory. Let me. Yes, I just need to see you or have you talk to me about what's going on with your camera. But I like to just sort of do a brief check-in, right? And then if you have to turn off your camera in order to hear or see better, then you do that afterwards. It seems like that's been working pretty good for most of our classes. All right. So let's start first by talking a little bit about the play that we had for homework, okay? So if we can go to Schoology, right, and open up the play. So it's in the folder from last week, okay? It's the 925 folder. Where did it go? Actually, I don't think I posted it, did I? Well, then never mind. All right, we'll move on then. I didn't realize that I had forgotten to post the play, which was my fault. Okay. So hopefully you guys watched the Crash Course Theater. Yes, did we watch all that for Kabuki and Bunraku? Or that was mostly Kabuki, I would say. What did you think about it? Carla says yes. Okay. What did you think about the video? We're just going to basically go into more specifics today about what you watched. Ladies, you need to be paying attention in class, guys. Let's go. You watched the play, but not the, okay. So if you watch the crash course video, I'm going to try starting having you watch the crash course videos before you do before we do the actual unit. So that way, as I'm talking about the plays, you already have heard some of this information before, if that makes sense. Okay. And that way, hopefully by you having watched it and taking notes, and then we review it together, that sort of helps it make more sense. And you have some better opportunities to to ask questions. All right. So please, if you didn't do the homework to watch the crash course, you need to go back and do that tonight, preferably, or before you begin your Japanese theater presentation. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about Kabuki and Bunraku Theater. And I do have a do now for you. So let me share my screen. It's Victor, the video for the crash course is in the previous PowerPoint. So when we were together on Friday, right? It's in the 925 folder. Does that make sense? Okay, great. And if you can't get it to play when you click on it, then in the upper left-hand corner, you can click on that and it will expand the video. Sometimes it doesn't want to play inside of Zoom. You can also, like I tell you, it's like crash course number 24. You can click on, or you can search that in YouTube and it'll come up right away. Okay, so here is today's lesson, and let me make sure that I have my computer sound on. Okay, you guys see that okay? Or no? What is it doing actually? Sorry, I'm not sure why it's not cooperating with me here. Okay. Sorry, I only have one screen today. I should have brought my iPad with me. Okay, can you guys see that? The do now? Yes, can you see the do now?
It's cut off a bit at
Okay.
the screen is like really squared.
There we go. Does that help? Okay, so what I need you to do is tell me 2 things that you remember about no drama in your journals, and I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that, and then we will move forward. Okay, so take a couple of minutes to write your journal entries. Just a quick reminder as you're working that I'm going to have you turn in your journals on Friday of this week. So if you aren't sort of prepared to turn those in, this is a good time to go back and check to make sure what do nows you've missed. Okay, you just click through the PowerPoints for that.
What was like the first PowerPoint of the week? Was that 9:23?
I think the 21 actually.
Okay.
Right?
Got it.
Yeah. What might be useful is to put something like a line so that you can remember where your journals left off, but I would rather you turn in too much than not enough, right? Okay, I'm gonna give you about 30 more seconds so you can finish your thoughts and then we're gonna move on. I need you to put your phone away. Can't be on your phone. Let's go. Put it down. Thank you. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. So we're going to talk about Kabuki theater. Then we're going to move on to Bunraku and look at how the difference between puppetry in Japan and what you might be accustomed to with puppet theater. I'm going to give you a group assignment about Japanese theater that will be due on October 4th. So you have just a little less than a week to do it. But I think it's a pretty simple assignment. And you will not have to present these. And then we'll finish up for today. All right. So let's see. Hannah, can you read this first slide for us, please?
Kabuki theater. New middle class wanted to go to the theater. The second point. 1603, an actress in
Kyoto.
Kyoto began mixing dance with skits.
Mm-hmm.
The third bullet point. Courtesans adapted these and added sexy costumes.
Right.
And then the fourth point, originally all women actors.
Okay, exactly. So we have now reached a point in Japan where we have a new middle class. So people who aren't necessarily considered like high society, but they have expendable money, right? And so they are now wanting to participate in entertainment. So beginning in the 1600s, we have this actress who starts using all of the dance that we've sort of talked about with no drama, but she starts adding text to it. She starts making them into skits. So then this becomes really popular to the point where other courtesans, which is kind of like a high class word for prostitute, they start using these as well. So Kabuki was initially all female actors. We didn't have any men, but it was targeted at men, if that makes sense. Okay, so then let's talk about what the government did. Emma, why don't you read the first one?
All right. No ladies allowed. Concerned about samurai's getting corrupted by Kabuki, the government outlawed women in Kabuki in 1629.
Okay, so yes. So the first thing that happens is the government is like, this isn't very good. Like this isn't, doesn't follow with like Buddhism or Shintoism. So they're like, okay, well, if we outlaw women in theater, that'll take care of the problem, right? But it really didn't. So let's see, Zanette, can you read the second one for us?
Red light special.
Yep.
Kabuki moved to the red light district of Edo, and regulated rules were all played by young boys.
Okay, right. So then they take all of this type of theater and they move it to one specific place, a place where essentially, if you know anything about, like, there's a red light district in Amsterdam, it's sort of a place where it's kind of like seedy, where you would have, drugs, maybe, things of that nature. So they move it all to that area, thinking that, then it's kind of it's all stays in one place and it's regulated, and they change all of the rules from women to young boys. Okay. And that creates just a whole nother problem. Let's see. Luis, can you read the third one for us?
No boys allowed to eliminate outlawed homosexuality and 1948, and they outlawed young male actors in 1652.
Okay, right. So again, so now, okay, so there's a new problem now with it being boys that hasn't solved the problem. So first they're like, okay, well, what if we put strict rules and outlaw homosexuality? That doesn't really help the problem. So then they try outlawing young male actors. They outlaw boys playing the roles. So now all of the roles are played by men, all right? So until 1868, so think about when this started, right? We talked about the first one being in 1603. Until 1868, these shows were 12 hours long on average. Then the government put an 8-hour maximum on the shows. So we go from 12-hour long shows to, well, that's pretty excessive. Let's go to 8 hours. Okay. So you can imagine very long things of entertainment, but we'll talk about why that is, and you'll see. So here's why. The structure of a kabuki show. So Act 1, we have a historical drama. So it's basically its own play that has battles and samurai, and it's, focused on the history of Japan. Then we have a dance, and this dance section can last up to or more than an hour just by itself. Then in the second half, we have a domestic drama that's about romance. It's based on real life events, right? And then finally, a comic dance, which again can be an hour or more long. So as you can see, you total all these things up, you can sort of see why they get, as they get more and more elaborate, they take longer and longer and longer. Okay, so we're gonna watch this short little video where you actually get to see some examples of real kabuki performance. Let me make sure I'm sharing my computer sound. You're gonna see some examples of what the historical ones look like, and then some examples of like this one, which is a domestic drama, which even though it says drama, it's actually more comedic, okay? So here we go. If you need the link, let me post that in the chat really quick, just in case it works better for you there.
Kabuki is a Japanese traditional theatre form which originated in the Edo period at the beginning of the 17th century and was particularly popular among townspeople. After 1868, when Japan opened up to Western influences, actors strove to heighten the reputation of kabuki among the upper classes and to adapt the traditional styles to modern tastes. Today, Kabuki is the most popular of the traditional styles of Japanese drama.
見苦しいやつが失せおってな。
Important characteristics of Kabuki theatre include its particular music, costumes, stage devices, and props, as well as specific plays, language, and acting styles, such as the miyu, in which the actor holds a characteristic pose to establish his character. Originally, both men and women acted in kabuki plays, but eventually only male actors performed the plays, a tradition that has remained to the present day. Male actors who specialize in women's roles are called onagata. Two other major role types are aragoto, rough style, and wagoto, soft style. The actors speak in a monotone voice and are accompanied by traditional instruments. Kabuki plays are about historical events and moral conflict in affairs of the heart. The Kabuki stage is equipped with several devices, such as revolving stages and trapdoors, through which the actors may appear and disappear. Another speciality of the Kabuki stage is a footbridge, hanamichi, that extends into the audience. Keshi, the special makeup, provides an element of style that is easily recognizable, even by those unfamiliar with the art form.
Okay, so I put some notes here in the chat for you, right? So you have an example here where we have a convention that we haven't really seen before, right? We have the part where we have him helping the character, the actor, and as the actor is getting ready to do his like big scene, here's it right here, right? We have this guy right here in all black, okay? And so it's a convention that if they're dressed in all black, they have the black mask on, that the audience just pretends that that person isn't there, right? They're just kind of like, they're not present, okay? Just to reinforce that all the actors are male, right? That footbridge scene is a good example of them like conforming to modern technology, right? Because, you know, they're incorporating different lights and different ways of showing things. They have like revolving stages and stuff now. So they've really done a lot to bring in a combination of traditional makeup and traditional costumes with modern lights and modern, staging techniques to create kabuki. It's a very, it evolves constantly through time, okay? One thing I did mention here is to pay attention. All the characters are or all the actors are male, right? But we have a female character here who is walking, and I don't know if you can see.
Of the kabuki stage is a footbridge,
Okay,
Hanamichi.
that right there is the height of the platform on the shoe that she's wearing as she's walking down that platform or that bridge. Well, you're not used to it, right? And that's the thing, is that we don't have the cultural context to read like all of the signs. So it doesn't really register with us, right? Because we don't know what the makeup means. We're not accustomed to the sounds and the music. We're not accustomed to seeing the costumes. And so it reads very different and strange, okay? Which is a natural reaction to it. You have to kind of get past that to really see the beauty in it, right? Or the comedy too. Okay, so any questions about kabuki before we move on to bunraku? Any observations you want to make?
I just have a statement.
Yes, Emma.
I'm a little mad that because of its like that, I'm mad that there's no females in this, and like, because that it's like you're playing females. Why don't you just get females?
Right.
And it was originally done by females, so why are they not now in this modern time doing it with females too? Because that's technically the original.
Right. Well, yeah, and I agree that, you have to think about tradition and what tradition means. There are female, I'm sorry? Yes, you may. There are female kabuki actors in the world. However, the majority of them, and I would say actually all of them, cannot work. They cannot do kabuki in Japan because it's not traditional for women to be on stage. So anytime you see female kabuki actors, they are outside of Japan. They're probably in Europe or in the US or teaching kabuki to other people. It's also not really heard of to have someone who is not Japanese to be in kabuki as well. Okay, anything else? And like I said, if you didn't watch the Crash Course Theater, watch that, and it gives you some more context about a lot about the makeup and the costumes and all this like coding that is going on so that the audience knows when they see a character walk on stage, they immediately have all this information about the character right away. Okay, so we're going to talk about bunraku, which is probably one of my favorites. If you watched Crash Course Theater, you know that we're talking about puppet theater, but it's not puppetry how you've probably experienced it before. It's very much, well, you're going to see, it's very lifelike, and the stories are definitely not meant for children. Okay, so we're going to watch a short little documentary, and I want you to pay attention to these 4 things. I'm going to put them in the chat. So how is this different from puppetry you previously encountered? Okay. Second thing, the kinds of plays told with these puppets. Where the narrator is, because that's very important. And then how many puppeteers and who does what. So if you want to take a second and write that down, go ahead. But this is pretty important to know, okay? So think about, how is it different from puppetry you've seen before? The types of plays. They're going to give you, I think, 2 examples of plays, where the narrator is, and how many puppeteers do we have per puppet, and who does what for the puppets. Okay, any questions before we get started about this one? No? Okay, all right. It's again, it's here, I'll give you the link again. This is also a kind of old documentary, but it really covers like all the basics really easily, and you get to see some really cool examples and see the puppeteers sort of behind the scenes.
Ranking along with No and Kabuki as one of Japan's foremost traditional stage arts, the Ningyo Jorori Bunraku puppet theatre is a blend of sung narrative, instrumental accompaniment, and puppet drama. This theatrical form emerged during the early Edo period, around 1600, when puppetry was coupled with Jorori, a popular 15th century narrative genre. In the mid-17th century, numerous permanent commercial theatres were devoted specifically to puppet performances and kabuki, and by the mid-18th century, Ningyo Jorori had adopted its characteristic staging style. The genre acquired its present full name, Ningyo Jorori Bunraku, in the late 19th century. The Bunrakuza was a leading theatre of the period. The story is told in Ningyo Jorori, as this new form of puppet theatre was known at the time, derived from two principal sources. Historical plays set in feudal times, Jidaimono, and contemporary dramas that explored the conflict between affairs of the heart and social obligations, Suwamono. The impressive puppets, which are dressed in elaborate costumes and have individualized facial expressions, are painstakingly handcrafted by master puppet makers. The three puppeteers, who are visible to the audience, manipulate large articulated puppets on a stage behind a waist-high screen. From a projecting elevated platform, Yuka, the narrator, Tayu, recounts the action, while a musician provides accompaniment on a three-string spike lute, shamisen. The Tayu portrays all of the characters, both male and female, and assumes different voices and intonations to suit each role and situation. Although the Tayu reads from a scripted text, there is ample room for improvisation. The three puppeteers must carefully coordinate their movements to ensure that the puppet's gestures and attitudes appear realistic.
A single puppeteer style later developed into the present three puppeteer style in the 18th century, giving rise to a unique performance style seen nowhere else in the world. The main puppeteer, or omozukai, operates the body and head with his left hand and the puppet's right hand with his own right hand. The second puppeteer, or hidari-zukai, matching the movements of the main puppeteer, operates the doll's left hand. The third puppeteer, or ashi-zukai, operates the doll's feet with both hands. When the three puppeteers work in perfect synchronization, the puppets magically come to life. Since female dolls, as a rule, have no feet, the third puppeteer must hold the hem of the kimono and use his hands and arms to create the illusion of moving legs.
Okay. No, I just didn't want you guys to miss like the stuff I wanted you to like take notes on. What, you know? Okay, so let's go back and we'll talk about, yeah, go ahead.
Why don't the women have feet?
Okay, well, that's a good question. The reason why is because the kimono is basically so like thick that if they were manipulating the feet instead of moving the fabric, you wouldn't really be able to see the movement, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's why. But it's a good question. Okay, so let's talk about how it's different from the puppets you're used to, right? I know Brian had like a really strong reaction. So Brian, why don't you tell us about what you thought? I can't hear you. If you are trying to use your mic, I can't hear you, but you can go ahead and type it. No, I still can't hear you, unfortunately. Go ahead and type it. What about you, Hannah? Because I know you guys were both, you both had a strong reaction. You thought it was creepy? Okay. Can you, I mean, you said that about like the way that they're painted. Is that primarily it? Yes. Okay. What about you, Hannah?
I don't really know. I just felt like this stuff was like, it was kind of weird, but I was like, I was laughing most of the time because I was like, what in the world am I watching? So I don't know, but it was weird. I'll say that.
Okay. So think about why do you feel like it reads weird to you? And I know this is kind of difficult, but in juxtaposition to what you're used to with puppetry, how is this different? The way they sang, says Mildred. Okay, Emma, go ahead.
I think like with a lot of puppets that we're accommodated to, they look fake and they don't look
Okay.
realistic. But with the puppets that I at least saw, they looked like they felt a lot like more stiffer, but
Uh-huh.
like human-like. And as a human, and this is an actual scientific thing that happens, the more that something looks kind of lifelike, the more that humans don't like it.
Yeah, the uncanny valley.
The uncanny valley. It's like it starts to look okay when it starts looking a little real, but when it looks too real but looks too fake, it freaks us out. With most puppets that we see, so I'm gonna just do Sesame Street, we know that that's fake. Big Bird is fake. Well, there's puppeteers, but like they're monsters.
Right. Now, at the same time, though, one of the things that's different about Japanese puppetry is that you see the puppeteers, right? Whereas usually with like a lot of the puppetry, like Sesame Street, we don't see them. They seem like they're fully autonomous, which is a little bit, which is a little bit different, right? So Giselle says we are used to seeing strings. We don't see the actual person, right? They used regular people. They sang. Okay, good. All right. So it's very different, right? We're used to seeing puppetry in a totally different context where it is usually targeted towards children, with the exception of Avenue Q and also, the Lion King production on Broadway. That's very different because you can see the puppeteers, and it's not a child. It is aimed towards children, but it's done in a different way, right? Okay, what about plots? What kind of plots do they tell with the puppets? They give you the name of one specifically. Yeah, go ahead.
It's more, from at least what I think I heard, it's more dramatic.
Okay, right.
It's more like tragedy-esque.
Yeah, it is actually. The one that you see a lot of the scenes from there is like the double suicide of Susan Yaki. Okay, so that gives you an idea of that it's probably not going to be a happy ending. So yeah, we are dealing more with drama. We're dealing more with tragedy. Some of this is like historical fiction. Okay. Okay. The narrator. Tyler, tell me about what you saw with the narrator. Where is the narrator and what do they do?
I'm pretty sure the narrator is the puppet, like the one who's operating the puppet behind it with the mask off.
No, it's not actually, but that's I understand why you thought that, because that's what we're used to, right? We're used to the people who are manipulating the puppets also providing the voice.
Playing the music?
Yeah, the guy next to him. Yeah, go ahead, Mildred. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So it's the people that are singing, right?
Yeah, yeah, and
So,
he does.
Yeah, because they're the one that's singing the story.
Yeah.
Basically, because like,
Yeah,
they don't say it, they sing it.
Yeah, and he has the book too, right? Yep, they're on a projected platform. It's just off to the side. The audience can see them the whole time, right? And he sings it, but he also provides the voices, okay? So yeah, let's talk about the puppeteers. How many puppeteers do we have per puppet? 3. I see some 3s, right? Okay, so break down for me. Who does what? What does the first puppeteer do?
The body and the right arm.
Yeah, okay. Yes, perfect. The second puppeteer? What do they
The
control?
second puppeteer does the left arm, I think.
Yes, that's exactly right. And then we have what?
The third one does the legs, both
Yeah.
legs.
Or the legs or the kimono if it's a female puppet. Yeah, exactly. And so most of these plays, you're not going to have more than 2 or 3 characters, right? And, you know, of course, because think about it, if each puppet needs 3 puppeteers and you have 3 characters on stage, now you have 9 puppeteers, like in that very narrow space, trying to like control what's going on, right? So it's sort of limited. Now you saw like at the very beginning, right? They climb the puppet to the top of the rock and then they like rotate the rock. So again, they're sort of incorporating elements of modern technology, okay? But still very traditional. The puppets are done in a very traditional way. They're dressed in a very traditional way. Yeah, Mildred, it is difficult to do. Yeah. But I think it's really fascinating because it's survived for this long. And it started with 1 puppeteer per puppet and developed into this 3 puppeteer style. So that's also very different, right? We're used to most puppets needing 1 to 2 people, maybe, and 2 people is like a really elaborate puppet, right? What does it remind you of, the puppets, and like sort of the style of the puppets? Does it remind you of anything that you are used to? Are you on your phone? Turn your phone off. No, absolutely not. Okay, Emma, yes, go ahead.
It reminds me of ventriloquism. Like, I don't know why, but for some weird reason, it's reminding me of ventriloquism because, like I know, like, they're not like, it's just kind of like you're moving a puppet to like somebody else who's talking, and you don't see the person who's talking. You see them, but like you don't really like pay attention to that, and it's like the character itself is talking.
Right. What else? What does the aesthetic sort of remind you of? Those of you who found it sort of creepy, does it remind you of anything?
Annabelle, Chucky,
Yeah.
all the dolls.
Yeah. Okay. It does. Yeah. Right. And that's
horror aesthetic.
And I think that's the thing, is maybe why you do find it scary, is that like we do use a lot of that, and horror, like, you know, scary. Yeah. Annabelle and like the Chucky dolls, maybe also to me a little bit of like Tim Burton sort of look for things, right? You know, where they're intentionally, they're always very pale, like the very exaggerated features, right? So I totally get it. You have to sort of take a lot of these things, and as we go through different cultures, right, you can have that reaction to it, and then you have to try to examine it sort of beyond that, right? Like have your initial reaction and then be like, okay, but can I view it from like the viewpoint of a historian or a outside of my initial reaction, right? Just like you do with meeting people, or maybe your initial like view like of a movie or a TV show, right? And then you might actually end up really liking it or not, right? You don't have to like it. That's certainly not it. I just want you to sort of try to think about like, why could it be important to them, and why do they still do it, right? After, hundreds of years, this is still a very popular form of entertainment. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
I have one question.
Yeah.
I've noticed between Kabuki and this one, the skin is very, very pale.
Mhm.
Why is that?
A lot of it goes back again to the tradition of the way that makeup was done. If you look at the makeup in like the early Edo period, or you look up geishas, what their makeup looked like, they were supposed to be very fair, because that meant that they didn't have to like go out and work manual labor or go out into the sun. And you saw, the actors applying their makeup in like the Kabuki, video. And so it's sort of an exaggerated take on that look, right? So they're extremely fair because, they're high class courtesans or high class women or men. All right.
So they made it pale to make it seem more high class.
Yeah. And this is a very sort of common thing. Isn't that? Yeah.
In Japan, the lighter you are, the more beautiful you are, because it means you don't have to work. So
Yeah.
the darker color, if you're on the darker scale, you're kind of seen as middle class because you
Yeah.
work and you don't
Exactly.
so the paler you are, the more beautiful you are.
Yeah, exactly. And Carla says it's still a beauty standard there today, right? There's still like regular advertisements in places like India. And I know one of my friends who she travels to see her family in the Philippines, where they sell like the skin bleaching, products, so that you try to actually achieve a fairer look, right? So
Can
yeah.
I just say?
Yeah.
Can I just say that I'm just why are beauty standards still around?
Yeah,
Everyone's
well,
gorgeous.
but yeah, so that is part of it, right? And they're taking that to an extreme. And with puppets, you can really take it to an extreme, because you can do whatever you want with them. You can paint them whatever color you want. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to break you into groups. I want to give you enough time so that you can exchange your information with each other, so that you can make maybe a Google Doc that you can work from. And like I said, this is not due until October 4th, so you have some time for this. So you're going to either have No, or you're going to have Kabuki, or you're going to have Bunraku, okay? And your assignment is that imagine that you are making an argument as to why someone should go see that specific style of theater, okay? So you're trying to convince me. Let's say I'm going to Japan. I only have time to go see one play, right? You argue why yours is the best, and you can use visuals with your argument. So you can use clips, you can use pictures, whatever you want in your presentation to why yours is the best and why I should go to see that one. Okay, does that make sense? So it's meant to be, like I said, sort of like a fun sort of group project. It shouldn't take too long. I didn't want to make it, because I know that this particular quarter is really, really busy. So you can break it up, and plan some ideas. Okay. Okay, so let me put you into your group so you can exchange your contact information, and then we'll come back and talk about the exit ticket really quick, okay? So, let me stop my share. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to post the discussion board again on today's day because I think it does make it easier for you to communicate. You can exchange contact information there as well with the people who aren't there today. All right, so let me assign you your groups. And then, like I said, if you have people who aren't here today, you will, I'll list it in. But yeah, I wanted to give you time to really be able to get this done. And like I said, not have to rush. All right. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry, I have to type all these names in. Oops. Okay, and then I've missed 2 people, so where are you? Julian. Oh, it's in this one. And okay, all right, there you go. Yeah. Uh-huh. Jada, are you there? I need you to go ahead and join your breakout room. Hello.
Just wanted to check, is this everyone in our group?
No, it is not.
Okay, because we
Um,
have missing dudes
yeah.
with that.
You are missing Theory
Siri?
and Mia.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm
Okey
going to
doke.
post it in the I'm going to make a discussion board so that you can post a link to your Google Slides and then they can click on it. Okay.
Okay. Can you give us another rundown of what we're doing again, just
Okay.
in case I
Yes,
messed up?
and it is in the PowerPoint, right?
Got it.
So what you're doing is you're making an argument for why, if I was going to only had time to see one of these three types of theater, why Bunraku is the one I should go see.
Which-
Okay. Yeah. Great. Okay.
That's about it, because we
Okay.
just got.
You're good.
I'm gonna make the Google Doc and everything set up.
Okay. Okay, as people are coming back, I did post a discussion board in today's Schoology so that you can post there. If you need to post a link to like wherever you want to, Google Doc or however you want to sort of get everybody in the same place together to talk and make arrangements, you can post that there. And that way you can also, it's got the lists of each team. So the people who are not here today should be able then to access that as well, just like those of you who are here are. So just to wrap it up, your homework is going to be to watch another Crash Course Theater. It's Crash Course Theater 22 on Catholic Holly. So that way, when we come back, you've already watched that and you'll already be familiar with some of the terminology because he's going to go way into depth on it than I could in even 3 or 4 classes. Okay. So I'm going to put a link to that in the chat. And then our exit ticket, there is an exit ticket at the very end of the PowerPoint for today. I will show it to you briefly, but you will have to complete it later, okay? So it is, all of these types of traditional theater are still shown today in Japan. Why do you think that is? Okay. So go ahead and think about that. Make sure you have that in by midnight tonight. And then again, your homework before Thursday is just to watch that Catholic Holly video, okay? Again, your projects are not due until Sunday at midnight, so you have plenty of time to work on these. And they are a summative, they're your last summative for the semester, okay? Yes. I thought I double checked it, Giselle. Whichever group you were working in, work with that one, okay? Because you've already gotten started. Send me a message or send me an email and let me know which one that you're in, okay? All right, guys, it is noon. I don't want to keep you late. So make sure you turn in your exit ticket. No, do it in Schoology. There's a place to put it in Schoology. Thank you for asking that, Carla. And then watch that little video on Kathakali. And then on Thursday, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to go from Japan to India. All right. And then I'll plan for some, maybe like 15 minutes at the end of class where we can go over and answer any questions that you've come up with about, the projects. All right, guys, I will see you on Thursday. I hope you have a good evening and good Wednesday, and I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.